Nothing's working to cover up Meghan Markle's career catastrophe. No. The Archie and Lilibet stunt. Meghan Markle thought that she was being very clever by pimping out her children yet again on...
You, all of the people who were working for Harry and Meghan at that point. And believe me, if Harry and Meghan didn't want to do...
The numbers were brutal. Meghan Markle's Netflix cooking show Season 2 just scored 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, down from an already dismal 38%. 500,000 viewers vanished. Critics called it painfully contrived. Most celebrities would quietly retreat, not Meghan. Instead, she pulled a stunt so hypocritical it left royal experts speechless and reportedly infuriated Netflix executives. She posted Instagram photos of Archie and Lilibet on the Netflix set,
which makes me and a ton of other people believe that the whole core concept of the show is just a total sham. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments and make sure to...
The same children banned from appearing in the actual show, heart emojis over their faces as if that made exploiting them acceptable. The woman who sued newspapers for printing her kids' photos was now using those kids to save her failing career, and Dan Wootton wasn't having any of it. But before we dive into how this backfired spectacularly, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because this story gets so much worse than anyone imagined. Dan Wootton built his career on saying what others wouldn't dare. While mainstream media tiptoed around celebrity sensitivities and royal protocol
of August 22nd, 28th, the week that it came out, which covers U.S. viewing. Meanwhile, that fewer than 1.1...
Wootton carved out his reputation by calling out hypocrisy wherever he found it. His outspoken platform became the destination for uncomfortable truths that traditional outlets buried under layers of diplomatic language. This wasn't just contrarian journalism for clicks. Wootton had consistently broken major stories by connecting dots that others ignored and asking questions that made powerful people uncomfortable. When celebrities crafted perfect narratives, he dug deeper.
Hollywood has officially lost the plot. Meghan Markle's Netflix series is collapsing harder than a house of cards. Her desperate attempts to stay...
When public figures claimed victimhood while wielding influence, he exposed the contradictions. His track record spoke for itself. Years of royal coverage had taught him to read between the lines of palace statements and celebrity PR campaigns. He understood the difference between genuine privacy concerns and strategic image management. Most importantly, he wasn't intimidated by legal threats or social media pile-ons.
Meghan Markle's relentless pursuit of Hollywood relevance seems to have hit another roadblock, as Netflix has reportedly shut the door.
So when Meghan posted those Instagram photos, Wootton immediately saw what others missed. This wasn't a sweet family moment shared with fans. This was calculated desperation from someone whose entertainment career was imploding in real time. And he wasn't going to let the heart emoji disguise fool anyone. The timing was everything. While Netflix executives were reportedly furious about their show's catastrophic ratings, Meghan was busy generating Instagram content using the very children she'd kept away from their cameras.
So Meghan Markle, she decided to post pictures of her kids on set with her for the Netflix show, I guess to try and drum up attention. So
it was, in Wootton's analysis, a slap in the face to the company that had invested millions in her vision. The scale of the disaster was unprecedented for a Netflix original with this level of promotion. Season 2 didn't just fail, it collapsed spectacularly, losing 500,000 viewers from Season 1's already underwhelming performance. The show managed to rank 383rd on Netflix's internal charts, a position usually reserved for forgotten foreign films and canceled series.
I watched every episode of the Meghan Markle Netflix show, so you don't have to. Now, a lot of people made a big deal about Meghan correcting Mindy Kaling on her.
Even more humiliating was the comparison to Meghan's old acting work. Suits, a show that had ended years ago, was still pulling better numbers than her brand new lifestyle content. Viewers were literally choosing to rewatch her old legal drama rather than engage with her current cooking show. The message couldn't have been clearer. Critics weren't just unimpressed, they were brutal. The Guardian called it so painfully contrived that it's genuinely fascinating.
Meghan Markle's life is a whirlwind of scandal, fame, and family drama. What's really behind the Duchess of Sussex's public?
While other reviewers questioned whether there was any actual content beneath the endless, flour sprinkling and basic recipes. One critic noted that Meghan seemed to mention how little she actually cooked, which raised obvious questions about why anyone should watch her cooking show. But the real story wasn't just the poor ratings. Industry insiders were calling it one of the biggest streaming flops in recent memory, especially given the resources Netflix had poured into the Sussex brand. This wasn't just a bad show.
Best thing about Koreatown, you could go to all ages clubs and karaoke bars.
I was part of
It was a complete breakdown of the relationship between talent and platform. The timing made everything worse. Netflix had renewed the show before seeing how badly season 1 would perform long-term. Now they were stuck promoting content that audiences actively rejected, while their talent was busy using her children for Instagram engagement, rather than focusing on why her show was failing so spectacularly. What happened next revealed everything about Meghan's approach to crisis management. Instead of addressing the show's problems or working with Netflix to salvage the situation, she reached for what royal experts called her last bankable asset: her children. The Labor Day Instagram post wasn't subtle. Photos of Archie in a soccer jersey and Lilibet in a floral dress, both watching their mother film the very show they'd been banned from appearing in. Heart emojis carefully placed over their faces, as if that somehow addressed the fundamental hypocrisy of the situation.
Welcome to my home. Well, it's not my home, it's a set actually, but welcome to my set. You know, it's actually...
Wootton's analysis cut straight to the heart of the contradiction. This was the same woman who had sued the Mail on Sunday for publishing private letters, who had complained to Oprah about pressure to serve up her child on a silver platter to the media. Yet here she was, strategically deploying images of both children precisely when her commercial interests demanded a sympathy boost. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Every major product launch or career setback was accompanied by carefully curated glimpses.
Meghan Markle gets a lot of stick, but the fact is, she's just a down-to-earth person, just like you or me. I mean, here's a video of her making breakfast for her kids.
Of Archie and Lilibet. Disney trips when she needed positive coverage. Photos with their late dog Guy when American Riviera Orchard launched, and now behind-the-scenes shots when her Netflix show cratered. Royal expert Tom Sykes captured the calculation perfectly. Meghan's children are not being hidden, they are being rationed, drip-fed to the punters as part of the lifestyle she is selling. The heart emojis weren't protecting their privacy, they were making their exploitation more palatable. But what made this particular stunt so tone-deaf was the timing.
This is why Meghan Markle's new Netflix show is getting so much hate.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has...
Netflix executives had reportedly been frustrated for months that the children weren't featured in the show, which could have added genuine family appeal. Instead, Meghan kept them away from the cameras during production, then used them for personal Instagram promotion after the show failed. Behind the scenes, Netflix was dealing with a talent who seemed more interested in her personal brand than her contractual obligations. Industry sources suggested this was part of a pattern that had been building for years.
You see where our rainbow is coming together here? And you don't have to do a big platter of this. You could do this with one small row for your kids for...
The Oprah interview had gone to CBS instead of Netflix, despite the streaming giant's massive investment in the Sussex brand. Harry's memoir Spare had dominated headlines and overshadowed their Netflix documentary series. And now, Meghan was using her children to promote her Instagram while keeping them away from the content Netflix had actually paid for. This wasn't just bad business, it was actively destructive to the partnership.
Meghan Markle is facing a huge amount of backlash after her newest Netflix series, With Love Meghan, is being exposed and called fake. Now, the reason people are saying this is
Netflix had invested in the Sussex brand, partly based on their global recognition and family appeal. Instead, they got a cooking show that felt sterile and disconnected, while the actual family moments were reserved for Meghan's personal social media. Royal commentator Angela Levin summed up the industry frustration. Meghan won't listen to anybody who has experience in the field. She approaches each project convinced she knows better than the professionals, then blames others when the results fall short of expectations.
It's a real delight in being able to be a present parent, and it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work, we all have a lot of stuff.
The broader pattern revealed someone who didn't understand or respect the collaborative nature of entertainment production. While Netflix needed content that would attract and retain subscribers, Meghan seemed focused on projects that boosted her personal brand, regardless of their commercial viability. Sharp-eyed observers noticed something suspicious about Archie's soccer jersey in the Instagram photos. The specific branding, the location of the school, and the subsequent social media activity raised questions about whether this was another commercial arrangement disguised as family content.
2 houses, 2 homes, 2 kitchens, 2 phones, 2 couches where I lay, 2 places that I stay.
The soccer school itself was located in Studio City, unusually far from the family's Santa Barbara home. The $500 fee structure suggested an upscale operation targeting wealthy families, and the school's immediate social media response to Meghan's post looked coordinated rather than spontaneous. Royal watchers began connecting dots. If Meghan was willing to use her children's school activities for potential commercial partnerships, it represented a new low in the monetization of their private lives.
Tattoo of their birthdays because I don't remember. Sweet. Yeah, so April 14th, May, wait, is that?
The same woman who complained about press intrusion was potentially turning every aspect of her children's lives into content opportunities. The broader implications were disturbing. These weren't teenagers making their own decisions about publicity. These were young children whose images were being used to support their mother's commercial ventures, often in ways that contradicted her stated commitment to their privacy. What made this controversy different was the unusual consensus among royal experts across the political spectrum.
Meghan Markle's planned kids cartoon was canceled by Netflix. Netflix cut Meghan's expected upcoming animated series.
Even commentators who had previously been sympathetic to Meghan's privacy concerns were calling out the obvious contradictions. The heart emoji strategy came in for particular criticism. Rather than protecting the children's identity, it simply highlighted their strategic deployment while creating a false sense of privacy compliance. As one expert noted, either post your children on social media or don't, but putting a little heart emoji over half of their face isn't going to work. The psychological impact on the children themselves became part of the conversation.
Meghan Markle was absolutely against bringing people into her home to film her new Netflix show. In fact, she didn't actually bring...
How do you explain to a young child that they can't be seen in mommy's Netflix show, but they can appear on Instagram when the show needs promotion? The mixed messages suggested adult priorities that had little to do with genuine child welfare. Royal biographer Angela Levin was particularly direct. It's absolutely disgusting, actually. You know, wiping him out but putting him there. How do you explain that to a child? Why couldn't they see me?
Thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, they're having us.
The tea is to the side.
The Instagram post wasn't an isolated incident, but part of a clear pattern that stretched back years. Every major career milestone or setback was accompanied by strategic glimpses of the children, carefully calibrated to generate maximum sympathy or engagement. The Disney trip photos when American Riviera Orchard needed positive coverage, the tribute to their dog Guy when the product line launched, And now, behind the scenes Netflix content precisely when the show was failing. The timing was never coincidental.
What's going on, my love?
We are making this balloon arch for Archie's first birthday.
What made the pattern particularly cynical was how it exploited the natural human sympathy for children. Audiences who might criticize Meghan's professional choices were supposed to soften when presented with images of innocent kids just living their lives. It was emotional manipulation disguised as family sharing. The contrast with other royal families was stark. When William and Catherine shared photos of their children, it was typically for official occasions or genuine milestones.
Small row for your kids for breakfast, genuinely, and it makes the morning a lot more fun.
The images served institutional purposes and were part of the children's gradual introduction to their future roles. There was no correlation with their parents' commercial interests. While Meghan was busy managing her Instagram strategy, critics were systematically dismantling her Netflix content. The reviews weren't just negative, they were devastating in their precision and scope. The Guardian's assessment was particularly brutal. The show vibrates with most is a vacuous, overstyled joylessness. Critics noted that Meghan spent more time sprinkling edible flowers on food than actually teaching viewers anything useful about cooking or hosting. The repetitive nature of the content came under constant attack. How many times could audiences watch someone make basic recipes while delivering inspirational platitudes? The show felt like a Pinterest board come to life, full of aesthetic choices, but lacking substance or genuine expertise. Even worse was the disconnect between Meghan's presentation and reality.
Let's just move on. And there is a story, this is in the Daily Mail, the hidden meaning behind the royal family's marriage.
She positioned herself as a cooking enthusiast while admitting she rarely cooked. She promoted hosting skills while her guests appeared uncomfortable and the conversations felt forced. The authenticity that audiences craved was completely absent. Dan Wootton's analysis revealed the fundamental problem with Meghan's approach. She had built her post-royal career on contradictions that were finally catching up with her. You can't claim to want privacy while monetizing every aspect of your family life.
And for being honest, downgraded to a first look arrangement started off well with Harry and Meghan, the doc, of course, because they sold secrets.
You can't position yourself as a victim while exploiting your children for commercial gain. And you can't expect audiences to keep watching content that feels calculated rather than genuine. The Netflix disaster represented more than just bad ratings. It was the collapse of a carefully constructed narrative that had been years in the making. The same woman who complained about media intrusion was now the one putting her children in the spotlight whenever her career needed a boost. Wootton's unflinching coverage of the controversy did what
may have made headlines initially, but it quickly became apparent that audiences were more interested in the royal drama than in Meghan's personal ambition.
Traditional royal reporting couldn't. It connected the dots between Meghan's public statements and her private actions, revealing a pattern of behavior that contradicted everything she claimed to stand for. The heart emojis couldn't disguise the exploitation. The privacy claims couldn't hide the commercial calculation. The children Instagram post wasn't just a PR misstep. It was the moment when Meghan's carefully maintained image finally cracked beyond repair.
Up in the line of succession, they're a little bit far down. But she has these kids who are in line for the throne, so there'll always be attention on them.
And Dan Wootton made sure everyone could see the hypocrisy underneath. As the Netflix contract rumors continue to swirl and the ratings continue to plummet, one thing is clear. The strategy of using Archie and Lilibet as emotional currency has backfired spectacularly. The audience can see through it, the critics are calling it out, and even Netflix executives are reportedly losing patience. The question now isn't whether Meghan's entertainment career can recover from this disaster. It's whether she'll learn from it or continue down the same path until there's nothing left to exploit.